How you doing? I'm Darren with Kickin BBQ. If this is your first time to the channel, then welcome. If you've been here before, then welcome back. Today we are going back to the basics. I have a beautiful bone-in ribeye here, thick cut of course, because you know I like them thick. So let's get in and get this prepped up. All right guys, so here is our thick right here. This ribeye looks amazing. Now, I am a pretty firm believer in salt, pepper, and garlic, but if you like something else on your steak, you season it how you like. Don't let anyone dictate how you should be eating your steak. You paid for it, you're cooking it, eat what you like. That being said, for me, I'm gonna go with the original SPG, Sucklebusters SPG. And this is what we got right here, the OG SPG, the best SPG on the market. I don't care what anyone says. And all we're gonna do is just get this seasoned up. This is the perfect ratio of salt, pepper, and garlic. This is a thick steak, so don't worry about going too heavy. I'd say a nice medium dose on there. Let's get the other side. We'll pick up the extra on the board on our sides. All right, so we have the ribeye seasoned up. Check that out. Beautiful black pepper, beautiful coarse garlic, perfect amount of salt. This SPG is absolutely amazing. So what you can do is you can dry brine this overnight for 24 hours if you want. That's typically what I like to do. Unfortunately today I don't have that option. So I'm gonna pop this into the refrigerator for 3 to 4 hours. Just let it dry brine for a little bit, and then we will bring you back, get the grill fired up, and show you how we're gonna cook this thick boy up. So see you in a few hours. All right, so we're out here at the S&S Master Kettle. You can see I have about 12 Kingsford briquettes in there. I have 2 tumbleweeds. First steak cook on this grill, so let's give it a try and get this fired up. All right, so now that we have the fire starters lit, I have the bottom grate wide open just to get that nice airflow in there and get these charcoal briquettes lit. So I will see you when these are good and ashed over. We'll get our other charcoal added, dial in the temperature to 250 degrees, and then we'll get the steak on. See you in a bit. All right, so now that these coals are starting to ash over, we have some good heat coming off of here. I'm just gonna add a little bit more coals, probably get it about halfway here, and I'll show you what we're gonna do next. All right, so this is gonna be more than enough charcoal to get our steak smoked up right here. All I'm gonna do is I'm going to get the grate on like so, and I'm gonna leave this just how it is right now. I have 2 small chunks of pecan wood we're gonna put on when it's time to get this steak smoked, but I really wanna lock in my temperature of around 250 degrees. So what I'm gonna do here is I'm just gonna turn on my fireboard and I'm gonna run the probe through the probe hole. This is a really nice feature that the S&S grills have, so you're able to close the lid and not have to worry about crimping down on your probe cords. So I know that I'm probably gonna put my steak right about here. So I'm gonna get my probe right about here, and this is the reading we're gonna use to dial in that 250 degrees. What I'm gonna do now is I'm just gonna leave this bottom vent wide open, and I'm also gonna open up our top vent all the way, get it in the opposite side of the charcoal, and I'm just going to let this come up to temperature. Once it hits around, I don't know, 200 degrees or so, we'll start buttoning down these grates and getting our temperature dialed into that 250 degrees. I'm not gonna be too picky about it. 225 to 275 max is what I'm gonna be looking for. But yeah, at this point, I'm just gonna let it slowly climb up. It's easier to control the temperature letting it climb up slowly than it is letting it drastically jump up and trying to bring it down. So I'll bring you back when we're sitting at around 200 degrees. All right, so we are sitting at 199 degrees, close enough to 200 for me. I went ahead and closed these bottom vents down here all the way. I kept the smoke hole open about 1/3. So if you're doing this on a Weber kettle and not an S&S, you're just gonna leave those bottom vents about 1/3 of the way open. The top vents here, I have 1/3 of the way open. We're gonna slowly let this thing climb up. You can see we're already sitting at 205 degrees here. We're gonna let it climb up. We're gonna let it settle in. I wanna make sure we're maintaining that 250-ish, 225 to 275, because we wanna bring this steak up low and slow here and get some good smoke flavor on it. So I'm gonna let this thing settle in. I'll bring you back when it's time to get the steak on. All right, so we are sitting at 250 degrees. We are pretty much dialed in here. At this point, I'm gonna go ahead and get the steak on. Now we kinda wanna move quick because we're gonna lose all our heat and we're gonna be feeding a lot of oxygen to these coals, and we don't want the fire to get out of control. So it's gonna go pretty quick here. Get this lid off. I'm going to feed the probe for the steak through that porthole, just like so. I'm going to get this plugged in. We're going to take our steak and I'm going to put the bone side facing the coals just to help protect the meat. We're going to get our probe dead center on there. We are sitting at about 53 degrees. So once we hit about 90 degrees on here, I'm just going to come flip this steak just for even cooking because we're going to have a lot of heat hitting this side flowing out. So 80 to 90 degrees, I'm going to come flip it and I'll bring you back at that point. We're just going to let it go. But first, I want to get one piece of wood on here just for a little smoke. That is all we are going to need. I'm going to get the lid back on and just monitor temps. I'll let you know how long it takes before we're going to come and flip this. But I am so excited to try this steak. We'll see you in a little while. All right, so it has been about 35 minutes. We've been rocking at around 250 degrees. We are sitting at 85 degrees on the internal temperature of the steak. You can see we have some really nice smoky color on here. I'm gonna pull that probe out. I'm going to flip this steak over still with the bone side facing the coals. I'm gonna get the probe back in. I'm gonna get the last wood chunk on right there, let it sit and smoke the other side. And then once this steak hits 115 degrees, we're going to get it off, dump some hot coals, get this thing screaming hot, sear it off. It's gonna be delicious, it's gonna be amazing. I will bring you back when it is time to get this off. All right, so it has been about another 30 minutes. We are sitting right around that 115 degree mark here. So we're an hour total into this cook. And again, it does take a little bit of time, but you can do more than one steaks with this method. So let's just check the internal temp. We are sitting at 115 degrees exactly here. So at this point, I'm just gonna get this thermometer out. I'm going to get the steak off and we are going to get it inside and just cover it loosely in foil and let it rest until it is time to sear. But look at that, has some wonderful, nice, smoky color to it. I'm gonna get this in the house and then we're gonna get this thing heated up and ready to sear. All right, so I have the steak inside resting. I'm gonna get this opened up. I'm gonna spread out these coals. I'm gonna open up the bottom vent all the way. All right, so I've got the coals spread out. I have the bottom vent open all the way. I have the smoke hole open all the way. I've had a chimney of briquettes getting hot. They are just starting to ash over, so I'm gonna get them dumped. Now I'm gonna get these evened out so we can have an even sear, just like that. I'm gonna get that grate closed down. I'm gonna get the lid on, and I'm gonna get this vent opened up all the way. And I'm gonna let this grill preheat for about 5 minutes before we sear it off. That's gonna allow the steak time to rest, get this grill nice and hot. Just a quick sear till we like the way it looks, and this steak is gonna be done. We'll see you in a bit. All right, so it has been a few minutes. This grill is screaming hot. We're gonna get the lid off, and we are going to get the steak right on these coals and get it seared off. So I'm gonna get about a 30-second sear on this, flip it, let it go another 30 seconds, and I'm just gonna keep doing it every 30 seconds until I have the crust that I am looking for. The carryover on this is gonna be enough to get it done to where we want it, but I want a good crust on my steak because in crust we trust. So I'm gonna flip this in probably about another 15 seconds now. All right, so that's been about 30 seconds. Let's give this steak a flip. Look at that sear dancing on there. That looks absolutely amazing. Give it another 30 seconds here. All right, so that's been about 30 seconds. Again, just dancing on there, looking great. We're gonna go for another 30 seconds. I'm just gonna keep moving it all along here on these hot coals, getting a hot spot every single time. I'm not going for grill lines on this. I want a delicious, crusty steak. Also want to make sure we're getting the sides on here, so I'm just going to hold that right like that. All right, so I'm just going to keep doing this until I have the crust I want, at which time I will bring you back and show you how this is looking. Just going to be maybe a minute or two left here. We'll see you then. All right, so that steak is looking exactly how I wanted to. Check that out. We have a wonderful crust on there, looking absolutely amazing. I'm going to get this in and let it rest, and then we'll do the taste test. See you then. All right, so here is our steak. We've let it rest. You can see we have some nice char on there. I will be completely honest with you and let you know it went a little bit further on the char than I wanted it to because I was trying to take my thumbnail. but that's the price you pay. It's definitely not burnt. It has a great crust on there, almost cast iron like. So all we're gonna do is just come in, find that bone, and just get that out of there. Yeah, that is looking real nice. Just gonna come straight down the middle. Might be a little hard to see on camera there. We are definitely in the medium range, not so much the medium rare. The temperature got away from me a little bit trying to get the thumbnail. That is okay, because this thing is cutting like absolute butter. There is still a nice bit of pink in there. Again, it's daylight, and that really does affect the color of the meat, but it is still a medium. Great pinkness to it. I will eat this all day. I've never met a steak I didn't like unless I have to chew on it for 3 years. But man, nice and juicy. If you got some picky eaters, this medium is one for you. So let's jump out and let's do the taste test, because I really want to try this out. All right, so again, we have a solid medium on here. Not quite a medium rare, but you know what? I'm perfectly happy with that. I can tell this is going to be delicious, so let's just give it a try. The flavor on this steak is absolutely fantastic. That Sucklebuster's SPG, like I said, the perfect balance of salt, pepper, garlic. I love that it has the coarse groundness to it. Really adds a lot of nice texture to the crust. And you know what? For this being more medium, I'm not upset at all. This is a delicious steak. And have one more bite. You can see the pink in there now that it's been cut and sitting out. A little better than I thought it was, so I'm not mad at all. The smoky flavor from those 2 little pecan pieces we had on there, paired with that Kingsford charcoal, the SPG, the quality steak, the rendered fat band on the outside. This is a delicious steak that I guarantee if you served anyone, they'd be happy with, unless they wanted it medium rare. But I think even because of the flavor and how juicy this is, you can get away with overcooking it just a hair. All right, guys, that is all I have for you today. Nice thing about you doing this at home, you can monitor those temps a little bit closer and you don't have to worry about taking a thumbnail for YouTube. Guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, be sure to like, subscribe, ring that bell, stay safe, and we will see you next time.